All right, welcome to another episode of the Gonzo freaking Chronicles. And Elizabeth Cooper's back with us. You just had your own show earlier tonight, Elizabeth. So thanks for
I did.
you're burning the candle at
Yes.
both ends coming on the show. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Well, I was very excited when you asked me about it. So, yeah, tonight we had Cody Cowell on the show, and he is a super busy actor. And he just told us, oh, gosh, just about his latest bookings, which was what, 5 movies and 4 TV shows and a video game. So it was quite interesting, and he's a really nice guy. We were castmates in Florida, so we had some personal connection there, and it was just a super chill, good, great conversation that ran about an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a long one.
That's pretty cool though. That's pretty cool though. You mentioned a name to me like earlier that came straight out of the 90s, and I sort of had to laugh. You mentioned the name Kato Kalin. And I don't know how many people listening to this show will know who the hell Kato Kalin is, but he is O.J. Simpson's infamous flatmate. Do you remember?
Oh my gosh, yeah, but that's not the one that I mentioned, though,
Oh,
was
wow,
it?
it's not.
No. Beto O'Rourke.
Oh, I don't.
Beto,
Beto,
man.
never mind, the politician. I was like, Kato. Somebody brought Kato up. I totally misheard that.
It's so funny because you're introducing it. And I'm like, I don't know who
Oh
that
man, Kato
is.
Kalin. It's so funny because, like, when you said that, I was like, man, the first time I wrote about the Barry Dick character, it wasn't the Barry Dick of the books that I have now, but it was like another guy who was like he was like he lived at Batman, like Bruce Wayne's manor,
Hmm.
and he was like this jerk, arrogant son of a bitch, party animal, but he was like totally in shape, buff, could kick some serious ass. And when the jobs were too tough for like Bruce Wayne, he would send Barry Dick out in his costume to go out and do these things. And that was where initially the Barry Dick guy came from. And he would be like smoking a cigarette and beating the hell out of people. It was the funniest thing. Yeah,
That's so crazy. That reminds me of an audition that I did. It's kind of crazy when you're an actor because so many different people and all these people have accolades behind them. So you never know who to listen to, but all these different people tell you to do different things. So in the very beginning, I just, I was winging it. I was like, if I got an audition in and it took place in a kitchen,
yeah.
by darn, I'm going to film it in a kitchen, right? So what you just mentioned kind of reminds me of this one time. And I was a detective, but I was sort of like, I had seen everything. Nothing really fazed me whatsoever. And I'm sort of like butchy, and I was looking down at a dead body in the sand. And I had this really snide comment, and I'm smoking a cigarette, and I just make this comment and I walk off and, flick the cigarette at the dead guy. And I did it at a school. The only place I could find that had sand around here was an elementary school. So the guy that was filming it for me, I'm like, we're doing it right there. And he's like, at at this, like, you have to say bad words. And I'm like, I know, and I have to smoke too. So
Oh, that's corrupting the youth there, Socrates. That's awesome.
well, the school wasn't in session. Like, we waited until there was nobody there, and then, I mean, I guess that just makes it so much worse because we trespassed on federal property. But it was a great audition.
That's so funny. That's so funny. You always come up with like the funniest little things that you do in stories. I saw you posted on either Facebook or Instagram earlier. You went for a checkup, and you were talking about like when you had to fill out something like you have 10 different doctors you've seen or whatever. It's like I'm gonna put something
Yeah.
goofy on this when I type this in, and just to get a laugh out of the nurses back there.
Well, see, so this is the first time I've ever seen anything like this. I had a physical at my regular GP, right? And part of the joke was that, women, we don't do the whole physical thing because we all, we wind up having a female doctor and we have this doctor and that, like, we don't tend to be the species that doesn't go to the doctor. So I don't know, in my world, I just hear a lot of the men say, oh, it's time for my physical, because that's a very, normal thing for you guys. So, all right, that's my background on it, right? So the last time I've had a physical, I was maybe 10. And I go in for this physical, and they hand you the little iPad to finish all your signing in, your name and your insurance and your contact. And then it comes up to this page of my sexual preference. And it had heterosexual and a definition. It had bisexual and a definition. It had rather not say, and then there was like something else. I just cannot recommit. I didn't commit to memory. And then they had a spot where you could write it in. It was like other and explain. And I'm like, oh, here's my shining moment. So yeah. So the whole joke was, trying to get a chuckle out of the nurses, because it's like, oh, that's the girl you got to keep away from elephants, just FYI.
Oh, that's so
like,
funny.
How irrelevant is this? I don't know. Why do you have to share your sexual preference with your doctor?
Yeah.
Like,
They asked that, well, when I went to the DMV to renew my license, it said male, female, and then it said non-binary. The hell? Like I had never even heard of that term at that time. I looked at the girl behind the counter. I'm like, can you what? She just looks at me and goes, "You're male." I'm like, I know, but like, what is this? Like, my robot? Like, can robots drive? I don't have no idea. But anyway, so she rolled her eyes and didn't bother to explain it to me. I waited until I got my driver's license and I left. So,
was she younger than you?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so she's looking at you like a boomer.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like,
to the boomer.
I'm like, boomer. I'm like, duh, Gen X and stuff. She should probably have, well, actually, I didn't have hair at the time, but she could have looked at like, if she'd looked at me now, like, I've got this, I don't know if you noticed my hair, it's getting a little longer, but like, I look like that kid
Yes.
from South Park with the hair that goes straight down after a long day. I'm like, oh, all right. I'll take that, but yeah, it was so funny. Like, I heard that. I'm like, non-binary. Okay. All right. Whatever. And I just walk out. Like, whatever. Yeah.
I know. I would have looked up and gone, WTF, like LOL. Just
yeah, I should
like
have dropped some of those on.
Text message the crap out of her.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I could threw my favorite emojis at her. It was just weird, man. And I don't know. Sometimes the world's just moving in different directions than, like, I feel like I'm being drug along behind it by a truck, It's like, and not just any truck, but one of those arrogant guys in a truck that has those swinging truck balls on. Have you seen those? You live in Atlanta. Have you seen?
Yes.
That is like one of my pet peeves. I hate it. I hate it. And my new neighbor has a truck with swinging truck balls hanging off the back.
I've got a question for you. And, like they said at the DMV, you are male, 110%.
Mm-hmm.
What makes a guy look at silicone nards and go, they've got to go on my bike, or they need to go on my truck? Like, what is that?
Lack of confidence, perhaps. No self-esteem. I don't want to ask the guy. And I don't want to say anything because his wife, bless her heart, she seems nice, but she's so ugly. And maybe that's to make up for a lot of things. I don't know. I really don't know.
But isn't it crazy though? Like, male products are really kind of crazy to me, because I look at those and I'm like, you don't see women with dangling boobies that flash that are hanging below their bike.
Now that would be hard to drive, I would imagine, to steer a bike. And but I don't understand. Like, I see those and it's like, okay, well, you just know the guy driving it's an area, right? You just sort of know. And then when you see these trucks that have like "fear this" on the back, I'm like, that is a guy who's never been punched in the face. I swear he might act tough, get a couple of beers, and think he's the toughest guy in the bar until the littlest guy beats the shit out of him. Like, that's what it's going to take to get these people to take the "fear this" and take the swinging truck balls off your truck. Don't be that guy. That's like being the guy that wears a t-shirt of the band to the concert you're going to. That don't be that guy. If you go to see Tesla, you don't need a Tesla shirt. Put your Motley Crue shirt on, go just rock out and have a good time. You don't have to dress up for the band. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? I kind of, yeah, I agree with you on the band, but all right, I've seen that. Like, I can accept that more than what you just said, like dressing up for your car. No, no, like, no, take the Ford shirt off because you're getting into your little Fiesta. Like, we don't want to hear it.
And this is America, so we over accessorize, right? Like accessorize, I spell with an E-X-C-E-S-S, excess.
Mhm.
All right, so like that's awesome. That's one thing I love about this country. In the '80s, we like everything was glam and all this stuff. But you remember when they had everybody's car had to have a bra on the front? You remember that?
Yes.
There was no reason, like you're not getting that many bugs in your grill. So I'm so surprised at some point that nobody invented a pair of panties to put on the backside and
Oh
call
my
them
God.
panties. Because you can get the bra and it would literally say bra on the front.
Yeah. And like, when did everybody take off their bra?
I
I
don't know.
just, I just know that we saw less and less and less. And then it's like nobody's wearing the bra.
Yeah, and then maybe it was killed by I don't know, maybe grunge did that in too. I have no idea. It certainly killed glam rock, right? And so
Yeah.
I didn't hear much from Cyndi Lauper after that. After after Metallica's Black Album, I don't know. I don't know. I'm still hanging around hoping funk comes back. Right?
You know, I truly miss some of the 90s. I don't miss the fact that I was a teenager into a very young 20 in the 90s, because that's going to be the decade where you do the dumbest stuff. What is something that not even your sisters or your mom or nobody knows that you did in the 90s?
Oh wow, wow. Yeah, I partied way too hard in grad school. I mean, way too hard. And like most people don't know this, but the girl I was like engaged to before we got engaged, she lived with me for a while, and no one knew that. That would be a cardinal sin in my house. Like, oh, you're living in sin, you're going to hell. But you know, no one would give a shit now. But yeah, that was one of the dumb things. Um, yeah, I know another dumb thing I did up at the community college, but I'm not gonna spill the beans. I'll tell you off the air. but
I can tell you a dumb thing that I almost did. So I was in North Carolina and I was working for a corporate company, but I really wanted to get out of North Carolina. Like, I was wearing my grandmother's old wedding ring from the 1930s, just so that guys like wouldn't even look in my direction.
Mhm.
Not that I was getting asked out all the time or anything like that, but I just totally no interest. And I was saving money. So I was working the corporate job, and then I got a job at night as a waitress, like, right? So I'm like trying to save money because I really wanted to move to Atlanta. I got the bright idea that I was young and I was fit. So why don't we try stripping? So I called this strip club, all right, in the middle of nowhere, North Carolina. And the only thing I had in my head was like New York City or Chicago or like something glitzy, Las Vegas, right? That's not Western North Carolina. So I call this guy and I talk to him and I'm like, hey, I saw your ad that you're hiring. Like, duh, who puts an ad in the paper for strippers? So that was my first warning. Totally ignored it. And I'm talking to this guy, and he sounds like raspy voice, 70s something. All right. He's 70 something. And I said, so how busy is your club? And he's like, well, sweetheart, it's really busy, but only the girls that'll get up off the benches and stop drinking my Diet Coke make some money. I'm like, so you mean anybody who goes around like just talks to people, they'll make money? He's like, yeah, come in for an interview. And I'm like, okay, so now I'm set. I
Yeah.
have an interview at the strip club. So, I have no idea what clothes I had packed with me. I'm pretty sure I was just wearing whatever I was wearing, which was probably normal shorts and a shirt of some sort, nothing sexy. And I look it up on the map of how to get there because that's what we did then. And so I arrive. It's a shack and it has a gravel driveway. And I pull in and I'm nervous as all hell. I pull in, I look up and I'm like, there isn't even a sign. There wasn't even a sign for the place. This was
Wow.
like some backwoods crazy crap that you had to know. There were kind of naked lazy chicks over there in that shack. And
Huh.
that's how you knew. So I pulled in. I saw this like scraggly old guy open up the shack door and look out in the parking lot. And I kept going and I drove right out.
Oh man, that's
That's how I
scary.
almost became a stripper.
That's how you
Yeah.
almost became fed to the marsh. That's scary. Oh
But
my
that's
God.
stupid. Like that
Yeah,
is the stupid crap you do when you're 19, 20, 21, 22.
yeah, yeah. Wow, that's scary though. I never thought about stripping, but I knew people that would probably pay me to put my clothes back on. Back when the internet first started, like there was this one of these things about what have you been doing since high school? One of those sites, like Classmates or something. And just for giggles, I didn't know that stuff was forever. So I wrote that I was writing romance novels and dancing for money in Ass Crack, West Virginia. And I think somebody found that about 5 years ago. It's like, dude, are you still dancing? I'm like, what? And I had to just laugh. It's like, wow, the internet really is forever. And I'm glad it wasn't around in the 90s as much. And everybody with a cell phone with a camera, because my God, I
Yeah,
don't know.
me
How would
too.
how would any of us have gotten a job in the real world if we had fun? Kids today don't know how to have fun, I don't think. I mean, if you need a safe space at your college campus, you're at the wrong college, my man. Like, yeah, take your studies seriously, but learn who you are, have fun, go out, meet people, go to some parties. I wouldn't encourage underage drinking, but I know it happens. Just be safe. That's all. Some
We
advice.
picked the right decade to do the stupid stuff in because if I was a teenager right now, I would be right there with them, medicated, anxiety, depression, because there's a camera everywhere. Your parents
Yeah,
digitally connect with you. They know where you are at all times.
that's
And
scary.
I, I know I would be like, crap, I can't get away with anything. And of course, that's just natural. That's what you want to do when you're a teenager is get away with stuff.
Yeah,
But this is a messed up time. You kiss Joey on the corner, mom's gonna know before you get home.
that's
And
crazy.
with camera footage.
Yeah, it's like here, it's on the internet now. I go, what?
I know. And when your 84-year-old mom calls you and says, "What are you doing? You're married." Like that's a hard conversation to have.
That's when I recommend you to pour yourself a glass of wine and just have fun with it. I don't know. Maybe by the time she's 90, she will have forgotten the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Awesome.
kind of go in and out right now.
So funny. Yeah, if I'd had
It's
that
like an
problem,
AM radio. It's like you hear the same story in just different channels. Whole bunch of what'd you say?
oh yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I do. I do. Hey, so I want to tell you real quick, everybody that's listening, whether you're on YouTube or listening on the podcast, I haven't been around for a while. It's been a while since I've done a show. I got really sort of busy with work stuff. And then the plumbing blew in the house. All right. So I had to go get a hotel, stay there. And then after a couple of nights, I'm like, yeah, my mom told me just to go stay at the other end of the county with her. I was like, okay. And so I went there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and unfortunately Monday, because the plumbers were not able to show up till Tuesday and fix this leak. I had to shut the water off to the entire house. Now it kills me not to get a shower once or twice a day. I'm that kind of dude. I have to morning and like sometimes in the afternoon. I'll just like, yeah, I'm gonna grab a quick shower, whatever, refresh. I don't know. I miss doing my laundry. Actually, I like doing laundry. Everybody hates that chore. I hate washing dishes, but like I miss doing my laundry. So I was so excited to get down there in the laundry room and just, you know, zen out with dirty towels. I know that sounds sexy for everyone, but that's the way I roll on the weekends. Just the way I roll. Hey,
Yep.
so I wanted
Again,
to. Oh, go
where
ahead.
do you dance?
Ass Crack, West Virginia.
Okay. All right.
It's the only place you'll see the big flashing neon sign when you roll into town. It's the red light special, and I get auctioned off every Saturday night.
Whoa.
Not for anything dirty. I usually end up doing like painting and whatever chores. But that would be something. I always thought that one joke was funny. Like a girl whispers in your ear, "I'll do anything you want for $1,000," and you take her home, like make her paint your house. Like that'd be a great deal, you know.
That would.
It would really would be a good deal. So I saw this really interesting question on Twitter earlier on Twitter, and I thought,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I got to ask you this. So if you were like a genie or a demon, right, and someone was going to summon you, like you get summoned back, and there's three items that they need to have to summon you. What do they need?
Okay. So can I answer both? Like, so can I answer as the, like, if I was a demon,
Yeah,
and if, what was the other one? Angel?
uh, or a genie or something. Yeah,
Okay.
or an
Okay.
angel, whatever you want to be.
Okay. Well, no, if you said genie, that's okay. So if I was a demon, how explicit can I get on this
It's
show?
it's the Gonzo Chronicles, whatever you. I don't censor anybody, and
I
that's
would
what makes it so
need dark chocolate,
fun. Okay,
a stiff drink, and a stiff cock.
okay, all right. That'll summon you right back.
Yep. And then if I was a genie, well, I mean, that one, I want to think more logical with that one. Like, my magic lamp, but I don't think that's like the direction of it, right? If you were a genie, what would we need to get you out of your bottle,
I
summons you
don't know.
back? I don't know.
I don't know. Somebody rubs my belly. I get steam coming out of my ears anyway. I don't know. um, I feel like Buddha. They rub my belly for good luck. Like, hey, all right. Feels good for me. Feels good for you. Whatever. I don't. I guess the summons me back. If I were a demon, um, line me up a few shots with some of my glasses in my private collection. Um, a big stein of mead or no, like ale from Hofbrauhaus. Yeah, that's two things. Two
Did
stiff
you
drinks. Yeah.
did you know that when you're doing a tasting board of like whiskey and it's 100-year-old whiskey, you're not supposed to shoot it back?
No,
Didn't
well, you
know.
sip it. It's sipping whiskey.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Guys who used to sip whiskey when I was in grad school, we call them names actually. Well, let me take that back. That's not just in grad school. When I would hang out at the Sunset Pub a lot, we used to call those guys names. So it didn't really matter. Um, yeah, it may. I don't know, man. Maybe a good rockin' tune from the '90s to bring my demon side back. So I got two stiff drinks, and I wasn't going to use anything else stiff, but you know, maybe some ice and some nipples. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. That would be weird. Like you'd have to. I guess I would have to like clarify that because if like you made that wish to a genie and then like you walk in your dining room and then there's just nipples all over the wall. Oh, that's not what I was asking. Yeah.
See, I'm surprised that you didn't say something like $1 million.
No. Well, yeah. I don't know. Why would I stop at 1 million? Come on. I mean, that would last me through the week if I'm burning it at both ends like a demon. So I
Yeah,
would drive out of here.
speaking about $1 million,
Yeah.
my daughter's birthday just came by and she had a business trip. So I'll tell you what I gave her. Okay. I gave her a handful of cash to go get some business clothes.
Hmm.
And then we got her a couple of plants and some flowers. And sometimes I'll get those scratcher cards. So since she's over 21, I got 4 scratcher cards. And I asked the girl, I said, which one of these lottery scratch off cards is good? And so she pointed out 2 of them. I said, I'll take 2 of each of them. I gave her 3 and I scratched off 1 because I gave birth to her, right? So happy birthday to me too.
Yeah.
So, and I'm scratching it and I have $1 million space. And I'm one of those people where I'll scratch off all the prizes and then I'll see what I have to match at the end. And I'm sitting here, I'm scratching, I see $1 million space, and here's a 5,000, another, and 10,000, like a lot of money on this card. And I'm thinking, would I tell anybody about this? Would you tell anybody about that?
Hell no. Nope. If I won the lottery, no, I'm anonymous. Now, some people around me might think, hey, something's different with him today, this week. Like, what's he doing driving a Bentley? A new Beamer? What's he doing in that? Why is he dressed like Don Johnson from Miami Vice? I don't know. I'd slick my hair back maybe with a gold chain, the shirt, undone halfway down the chest. So what little chest hair I have shows. I don't know. Maybe somebody would find it odd. But that reminds me of this meme that goes around, this big fat bastard. He's like, man, my luck never ends. I won the lottery this week, and then I met the love of my life. How lucky am I? I'm like, really, guy? He's like 500 pounds with this really hot babe. Like, yeah, she loves you for you. Let me tell you. Like, how lucky am I? I struck the lottery. Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, no one would know. Like, maybe some people around me would know. They'd be like, why are you trading in your own account a lot these days? Like, I don't know. I've got quite a few buy orders to place. I'm sorry. I'll be in there just buying stocks all day long. They're like, you haven't been outside in a week. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know. I'll be a total vampire for the first month.
Yeah.
Know. But would you tell anybody?
Well, I know that I would have an obligation. So I would split it in half, give that to my husband, but it would be like hush money. It would be like, don't ask me. No, I'm not going to answer. Just here's a pile of cash, zip it. You do what you want. And I'm doing what I want with this, which, I mean, I'm kind of on I'm very frugal, but I'm kind of on the cheap side, sort of, where I wouldn't want to spend it, because I was scratching that and I'm like, what kind of investment could this be? Like, yeah, this is all being invested.
Oh, I know. Like, if I won the lottery, you'd have these people coming out of the woodworks like, hey, you need a great accountant. It's like, yeah, I get that. I probably need a really good accountant. You need a great attorney. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe one day. Not today. You're not going on retainer today, man.
No.
But I'll take your card. Like, you need a great investment advisor. I'm like, yeah, I got it covered. I think I'm not going to be paying you. Yeah. And I would just be like, but I would be totally frugal too. I'm not a big splurger. Like, I know probably a couple things I'd probably do. I'd pay my sister's house off where she lost her husband, and they're still in the house. I'd pay that off for her. And like, get my mom a place, and a new car. But other than that, like, I would put a lot of it in investments and just live off dividends and like tax-free interest off muni bonds or something. I would get that stuff set up and get like an estate. My first 2 months be like, I'm busy setting up an estate plan so nobody ever rips me off.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that would be like the first thing I do. But yeah, maybe that's one of the things. If somebody conjure me up, they'd be like, hey, I got some old stock certificates here. Like, yeah, now we're talking. I know how you need to sign the back of those to deposit them. Let's go. Like, exactly what you need. Fill in those blanks.
Exactly.
That's so bad. Occasionally you run into people that still have those. Do you know that? They have their own, like, the old Coca-Cola stock certificates. Like, I had them for 40 years. I need to put them in a brokerage account. How do I do it? Like, hey, you gotta sign that. There's a way you gotta sign that stuff and have a notary and all this.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how to do that. I don't know why I brought that up. This is not the kind of show we talk about, but I appreciate you having me on your show talking finance and investing. So
yeah. I was promoting that because we just put in a scheduler. So it's a campaign for reruns, but it's fairly recent shows. So like if you didn't catch it live, and you didn't happen to catch it when the network was, first putting it out there, now it's scheduled. So the
Yeah.
news is on Sundays at 5, and you can watch that on Amazon Prime or Binge Networks. And
Yeah.
it automatically pops up there. And you do such a great job because there's always something that you have in mind that you're like, you know what, I think this would be a good tip, or this would be a good learning lesson. And it's just absolutely fantastic. So
Yeah. That's
yeah.
one of the things when I got in this business. That's one of the things I love so much because when I first got in, I'm a shitty salesperson. I'm just not a good sales, right? So I never was. And when I got into the business, like one of the things I love doing, I would get one of my managers like busting my balls, like you got to be quicker and move on to the next client. I'm like, I just taught this girl something, that they're gonna need for life. Like, and like
Yeah.
they only had like 500 or 1,000 or a small account. You don't waste time. And I'm like, dude, what the hell's wrong with you? I loved really educating people, so that was kind of more what I liked. So I'm glad I
Mhm.
didn't quit and let these people like drum me out of there over that. But um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I stuck around for a while in that business before I went on my own, and I still hate selling. It sucks. It's not fun. It's not fun. It's not fun like the
No, you know
'90s.
what? It's either in you or it's not. There are so many people that I know that have tried sales, and it's like, yeah, I just wasn't really good, so I'm going to get another job, and they get another sales job. It's like, first part of this is self identifying
Yeah,
your strengths and your weaknesses. And it's just not everybody that's good at sales. But
yeah.
yeah, no, going back to the 90s. So I have a trivia card here, and I don't know this one, and I'm covering up the answer. What game came packaged with Game Boy? Was it Tetris, Donkey Kong, Super Mario Brothers, or Pokemon?
With Game Boy,
Yeah.
Tetris.
Yep, it was Tetris. Yeah.
So I never had a Game Boy, but I used to have a Super Nintendo, and then of course I guess the Segas and all that stuff came out in the '90s, and yeah,
You want another one? This one's about
yes.
websites. What website was not around in the 90s? Amazon, Match.com, eBay, or Facebook?
Oh, Facebook was not around.
Yeah, but can you believe that the other three were?
Um, yes, I remember like when I first took a job at Fidelity in Cincinnati, that was in 2000, and when I first moved into my apartment there, I was addicted to buying old movie posters off of freaking eBay. It was a sickness, man. I was buying every good movie poster I could find, like The Godfather, Purple Rain, and The Breakfast Club. You name it, I was buying all these cool movie posters.
I'm surprised that Match.com was on there. I mean, things are starting to get fuzzy if they happened before 2000 at this point, especially with that whole .com boom. There were a lot of websites that popped up and they just sort of like pop and boomed.
Oh yeah,
They're gone. But Match.com, I was talking to a friend of mine who's single, and I said, my daughter is single, and I suggested maybe starting like a Match.com or eHarmony or something like that to really meet people, because she struggles with meeting people in person, and meeting people online is like, it's just junky. You just get people that want hookups and stuff, and that's not what she's interested in. And he's like, no, don't do that. He said, here's why I'm going to tell you not to do it. He said, so many people are on these Match websites that once you create a profile, he said, in 5 minutes, you're going to have 105 people to go through. And because they all match you. And he's like,
yeah,
so then you're sitting here and you're looking at this thing and you're like, no, 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 yes, no, 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 yes. You play that swiping game. And he's like, and then if you have a chance to narrow it down, because every day you have another couple hundred people that are new, so you're like constantly going through these people to see, visually, is there anything stimulating here? He goes, then if you go out with somebody, they don't look anything like their picture.
yeah,
And he's like, it's just a waste of time. He said, you just have to meet people organically.
yeah. And I recommend not meeting them in bars because that was part of my early
Yeah.
years. Like I was going out after work all the time with a bunch of people I worked with, and those are the places we went. If you didn't date somebody you worked with, it was probably somebody you met at somewhere. Go meet a nice girl or a nice guy at a bookstore, folks. You know,
That's what I was about to say. I was going to say the library.
yeah. Hey, at least you know somebody's halfway intelligent can have a conversation past 30 minutes into the date.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's sad.
It
But
is sad. But those were my spots when I was, like single and I'm like, I don't want to be single anymore. It was the grocery store, the library. That was a little bit of a different time, where there were a lot more people in the library. Our library here, it's a lot of kids that want to study together. So you don't
yeah,
see like real humans there anymore. But it was those types of places, especially the grocery store. That was a big one. And then I heard about the swingers with their pineapples. And I'm like, I can't go looking at the grocery store anymore because
I
no,
had no
what
idea.
if I'm shopping for fruit? Like this is a problem.
Who knew that you were going for pineapples and end up getting caught in a threesome? Like, I would not expect that in the parking lot of a grocery store, but I guess stranger things have happened. I once got
Yeah.
nervous in a Kroger because I don't know what it was, but like they brought this bus in, and I guess they brought a bus of like elderly people. And this was my day off, and I was in Cincinnati. I was in Kroger, and all these elderly people come in with their walkers and their canes and their buggies and their carts or whatever you want to call them. And then another bus came in of, I don't want to say mentally disabled people, I guess.
Okay. Mhm.
And amongst them were like, you call them little people. I call them midgets. I think it's funny, but they made me nervous, man. Like the little people made me nervous. And like I would hear all this chatter from people that were like not all there mentally and they're there to help them shop. And I'm like I just left my card like, I don't know if the midgets and like
So were
antique
they
furniture,
angry midgets?
sort of, but they had mental disabilities too.
Gross.
Like I wasn't used to like a midget with a mental disability, but it's like I got nervous. Like, you know me, I was like midgets and antique furniture, and I just freeze up. I don't know what this stuff does to me, but I had to go. I just didn't even shop that day. I just went to Skyline and like went home and ate fattening food.
I would agree. I would have to turn around and just be like, I'm not rated for this environment right now. I cannot control my face. I can control what I say, but my face is gonna like tell you what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I heard one of them say, "Stop smacking your bread," and like I didn't want to turn around and look and see what they classified as bread. I didn't know. So I slept. Stop smacking your bread. I'll never forget that. I don't know. Is that code for
Do you
something else?
smack your bread?
Oh, a couple of beers in me, you never know what I'm gonna smack. It's like, but you know, it's funny. Like, if I ever make like a little drunken call, like not really drunk, like I don't get drunk, but a buzzed call, I'll call a friend of mine up, and I know he listens to this show. So when he doesn't answer his phone, I light that voice message up like nobody's business. I'll call right back, and I'll load it up. I'm like, I know you're in there punching the clown. Stop looking at your wife's magazines. Get out here and answer the phone. It's that March Madness. What's wrong with you, clown puncher? Yeah, punch him the clown. But anyway, and I know he'll hear this and start laughing. Like, yeah, it's so
Oh
funny.
my God.
Uh, yeah. Or I'll accuse him of molesting inanimate objects. Humping the couch into the phone.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. Now I want to know, what did the older people say? Because they have jaded thoughts too, just like I do. What did they think? It's Senior Citizens Day and Special Need Midget Day. Like that's a lot going on in one store.
That's a lot for anybody to process, especially the elderly. I thought that might be abusive.
Speaking about older people, you've heard about the villages in Florida, right?
Oh yeah, full of old people.
Yeah, full of, yeah. And it gets kind of crazy, I guess, when you're a widow or a widower. They've got that whole courtyard where if you were looking for a date for the night, you just go stand in the courtyard and somebody with a walker
That
comes. Yeah.
there you go. Sometimes teeth get in the way of good loving. I've heard that. That's terrible to say, but can you imagine what nursing home is going to look like for our generation? Like, hey, it's
Well,
Saturday. Put your teeth in. We're going to the rave. You know, there's a Nine Inch
it's
Nails.
Green Day night.
Yeah, there's a Green Day impersonation band. Let's go. Flopping around in a mosh pit, smacking people with walkers and canes. I mean, we should have a wheelchair mosh pit. That's what we need to have. That would be hilarious. Oh yeah.
I mean, my kids would just stop answering the phone. They'd be like, it's about mom. I know it's about mom, and I'm not answering. I don't want to know because she thought she was funny. So like, I don't want to know.
Mom's making prank calls and they traced it again. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
That's one thing I miss about the '90s before all the Colorado stuff happened. I used to prank call, and I loved it. I'd listen to the Jerky Boys. You remember them?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Jersey. Yeah, you have to know the Jerky Boys.
Hmm.
And I called my sister up one time. Her and her husband left a voicemail that I was I'm trying to, my accent was Southern anyway, but I was like, hey, it's Joey Bag of Donuts over at such and such construction. And I thought they would pick up on me saying Joey Bag of Donuts, but apparently they didn't. And I told them I was going to be there first thing Saturday morning around 7 a.m. to start digging in their backyard for the pool. Well, my brother-in-law just goes ape. He's like, who is the hell is showing up? No one's showing up to dig a pool. What was that guy's name, Tammy? Let's call these people. There's nothing showing up on the, they didn't have caller ID. They didn't leave a number. Who was it? Where's the phone book? Let's look. They were up early on Saturday to try to stop people. I thought for sure they knew it was me, the Joey Bag of Donuts line.
That is so funny. I used to do that to my sister-in-law. So she's in insurance and, homeowners insurance and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so one time I called, it was a very, very heavy Southern drawl, and she didn't know it was me. And, I was just saying that I have this house and it's really, Big Bubba's house, but Big Bubba died and it was in his will. So now I have it, but it doesn't have a roof on it. So I'm hoping that I can get a discount on the homeowner's insurance. And she was like, I don't even know what to do with this lady. I'm like, don't worry about it. It's me. You remember the hippopotamus call where you were going to get a hippopotamus delivery? Yeah, that was me too. Did the hippo show up? She's like, no, but I work from home.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I miss playing jokes on people. It was so fun growing up. In the '90s was just like my college years and my last of my high school years. So it's pretty funny. Hey, two more things before we wrap the show up.
Sure.
One thing I was going to talk about, like, all right, this is big in the news this week. Trump's telling everybody he's going to get arrested. Do you think they actually have the balls to arrest this cat?
No, I mean, if Bill Clinton never happened, right? If that whole thing never happened, I mean, you even have Tricky Dick Nixon. Like, if those two guys never happened, maybe. But here's the problem. It's like, is that really? I just didn't think that they could quantify a crime. I
Yeah,
figured it's probably going to be, of course, listed as something else, and it's this, that, and the other. And no, I think after everything that we saw with Monica Lewinsky, and who was the one before that Clinton actually did get caught for paying hush money to her. He paid her what, like $2 million just to walk
oh yeah.
away.
Then she went into Playboy or something. What was her name? Paula
Yeah,
Jones.
Paula Jones, poor stupid Paula Jones. So it's like those things have already happened, and nothing really happened to the president.
Yeah, I mean, listen, back in the '90s, we had to explain to little kids what a blowjob was in the White House. Like,
Yeah.
does anybody honestly think that some very rich, powerful man is not getting laid by whoever the hell he probably wants to? You know what I mean? It's like
Oh, I
it's
know.
dumb. Like, and then something come out. I guess a letter that apparently that Michael Cohen guy had wrote to the feds back in 2018, stating that he was the one that paid Stormy Daniels.
Mhm.
Trump never reimbursed. And then another letter came out that where Stormy Daniels had admitted that the sex never even happened. So this stuff has come to the forefront. This DA up there just probably wants to run for governor and thinks if he can get Trump or embarrass him. Problem is, people don't realize you're not going to embarrass Donald freaking Trump. you're just
No.
not. There's nothing that you can do or say. I mean, there were rumors going around that he was in Russian hotel rooms getting pissed on by strippers. It's like that just bounced off of like, sure, whatever. And like he
Yeah.
doesn't care. And I think by the fact he brought this out public and like circumventing that, now everybody's talking about it. Now all the pressure is on this one dumbass DA, who the jury apparently is not even buying his argument. That's why they delayed it apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's apparently the prosecution withheld a lot of like 600 pages of exculpatory evidence that they're required to give this jury or whatever, this panel, and they didn't
Uh-huh.
do it. And they get a lot of trouble for that. Now, will they get in trouble? Hell, these people never get in trouble for anything. But I just wanted to take one more opportunity to like bring up a little bit of politics and remind everybody that Joe Biden might be the Antichrist. I don't know. Just
Have you seen
that.
his blunder with the teleprompter for
Which
the past
one?
couple? Oh my gosh. No, this one was really bad. And they keep showing it on the news. I'm sort of only half listening because it's not all that surprising. But it was something he was reading on the teleprompter, and he just hosed it upside down and backwards, and he stopped, and then he made a joke about it, and then he
Hmm.
couldn't find his spot again. And it's like, um, don't you guys have rehearsals with him? I mean,
Yeah, give this guy a little practice before he goes out there or something. I'm surprised they even let him out in public. They didn't let him out to campaign. Why the hell they let him out for a press conference? And he never
right.
answers questions. So, yeah, like in I don't know. The one I think the thing that really chapped my ass most about him lately is the fact that all that happened in or in Palestine, Ohio, and not he did not bother to even go. Said very little or nothing about it. And Trump
It's
shows up
terrible.
giving everybody fresh water. It's like whether you like him or hate him, it doesn't matter to
He,
me. He did some pretty good things. What do you? He's abrasive. He's a New York construction worker. What do you want me to say?
yeah, he's extremely abrasive. He's not likable. Um, but he does care about his country. And I do want my president to care about the country. And the one thing I did hear about the DEA statement from a couple of days ago, I can't remember the name of the medication. It's supposed to be some sort of like animal tranquilizer, but if humans take it, it'll feed on human flesh, so it'll like eat through flesh, and it's disgusting. But now that's being mixed into illegal drugs that are coming into the country, and
What
it's
the hell?
like, oh yeah, oh, it's terrible. And they were reporting on it, and I guess it was in San Francisco or one of the major cities, and they're like, yeah, there's people literally decaying on the streets. And I'm like, how do we get here? I mean, this is America. How do we get
Yeah,
here?
just unacceptable by any stretch.
Completely.
And the people that Biden has put around him, not only is he probably the most incompetent president I've ever seen in my lifetime. And
Right.
everybody talks about Carter, but I was like tiny. I don't remember Carter. I remember Reagan, like the country's grandpa, keeping us safe from the commies. But this guy's just like the worst, and everyone around him is unqualified for whatever position they hold. Pete Buttigieg and transportation. What in the hell does he know about transportation? He was a small town mayor that couldn't fix potholes, for God's sakes.
Yeah, no, absolutely nothing. I mean, when everyone was chosen, I guess is the way to say it, nobody fits their role. It's just ridiculous. And I don't know. I really wish that something major could or would happen. Unfortunately, it feels like to me that we're in such a state that you just lock all borders and try to figure out this mess of how many million people are here, where some of them, sure, yes, you seek asylum in America. Yeah, I get that. But there's a legal way of immigration.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe in the legal way of immigration because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our immigration system. Now, is it seriously slow? Yeah. We just let how many hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of people run into this country that they know about. I mean, good grief. Their court
You-
date's going to be what, 5 years from
And you know what makes no sense economically? If you want to have an economically viable country, you want people that bring skill sets into your country. So yeah, I want a high bar set for people from, engineering and science and technology and things like that. And yeah, I understand there are other people that want to come here too and learn and get the ability to do that. I totally get that. But we are letting mass amounts of people come in here that will end up feeding off of the welfare system or the public dole, state, federal, and local level, that bring no skill sets here. And the skill sets they could have, a lot of manual labor. Well, hell, didn't we just close down over 70,000 factories in America during the after we passed NAFTA and shipped all the jobs to China and Indonesia and Mexico and everywhere else around the world? So if
now?
we're not hiring Americans to fill those jobs, what the hell are we doing here? Just they'll get hired first because they pay, you don't have to pay them health care. Some stuff's paid under the table, and you're just driving wages down on the poorest people. So politicians tell me they care about the poor. They don't give a rat's ass about the poor, or they'd have a
No,
better
they don't.
policy. They care about their donor class and what they're going to get after they're out of office because they care about money and power, and that's it. And we see that example over and over and over again. And over the last, well, all of my lifetime, the only time like certain minorities and the lower income class ever had an opportunity to catch up, whether you like Trump or not, those wages went up faster than the upper echelon wages. And I thought that was a good thing.
Yeah.
And, want to put up some mean tweets. He's running again. We'll see if he gets a nomination. DeSantis may jump in there. Who knows? Who knows? My
You
governor of
know,
Virginia might jump in there. Who knows? He's done a good job so far.
yeah, yeah, he has. And I see DeSantis having a very strong Republican following because he is likable,
Yeah.
but he's also good for the business of America too. And I don't know, we still have quite a while to get there until we're in January of 2025. And I really feel for these border states that are overrun with people. And, you take away, what they're here for or any of that kind of stuff. And you just look at it as people. This
Yeah.
isn't a country where, people get sick and they die in the streets. That's not what we're here about, and it's supposed to be a republic of the free. How are we going to continue that if you flood it with people that need socialized medicine?
Yeah.
And then how do the doctors continue to be the brightest and the best doctors in the world if they're really not getting any compensation on
No.
a third of their patient class?
Yeah. And socialism just dumbs down everything. And there are
Yeah,
people who come here from socialist countries. They're like, dude, you're doing the same thing that we did
right.
down there. Why I came here. So now I'm scared. And we hear that from immigrants all the time. All right.
We do.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with you. I said, yeah, you're right. We do.
On a lighter note, we talked on your show a little bit about why is it we always wait till one of our Gen X celebrities die before we actually start appreciating their work? Prince is gone. I miss that dude. Tom Petty, Eddie Van Halen. But, Top Gun Maverick just came out and we all saw where Val Kilmer is quite ill in real life. And I hope he makes a recovery. I honestly do. But let's appreciate this cat's body of work, man. He put some work into some things. Do you have any favorite Val Kilmer movies?
Um, well, Top Gun, definitely. I mean, that was a great film, the first one.
Yeah.
I'm getting a refresher right now. I'm gonna type it in here. He was such a good looking guy, but he had like that Hamptons kind of look. It was like
Yeah.
good, spoiled, rich.
Yeah. He's like, I'm better than you and you know it kind of look.
Yeah. I mean, he really. So definitely Top Gun, Batman Forever.
That was a good one.
And
Yeah.
I didn't realize until the other night, The Doors. He
Yeah.
was Jim Morrison.
Yeah. It was probably my favorite film that he was in. I've seen this movie countless times because I'm a big Doors fan, and he nailed Jim Morrison in that role.
He totally did. I'm gonna have to watch it again because I did see it. I remember I went to uh I didn't even have a Blockbuster. Like that's how quiet this town, North Carolina was. So I went to the, what was it called? Like Rent the Black Box or something. I don't know. So I rented the VHS tape and I watched it off of VHS tape. It was a couple years after it came out because I see here that the Doors movie came out in 1991. So this was probably about 95, 96, and that I saw it. I also saw Pulp Fiction in the same year and VHS as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I loved the Doors and this was great, great film. I never put that together. But now I'm sitting here looking at the movie poster. I'm like, yeah, I can see it. That's Val Kilmer.
Yeah, and so that was my Tombstone. That was another one that I forgot to mention on your show. He was in Tombstone. Doc Holliday.
I don't think I ever saw that. I don't remember that one.
If you just put it on TBS or AMC, I'm sure it'll come on within 24 hours. It's on constant replay. But it's one of those guilty pleasure movies, like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. If that thing's on, I have to stop and watch it. I don't know. I've seen it. I don't know how many times, but he did great in the role of Doc Holliday. With see who was yeah, I guess he was friends with Wyatt. I'm trying to think who played Wyatt, or Sam, what's his face was in it, the guy that's in all the commercials that everybody loves his voice. All the women love his voice. Sam
Samuel L. Jackson?
No, the guy with the mustache, the handlebar mustache, the old guy. He was in Roadhouse.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I know
Roadhouse?
everybody else is like probably screaming the name at us.
I
and
know,
we're
I
both
can't
like,
think of it. But he was in that, and then there was another. Remember The Ghost in the Darkness? Did you ever see that?
I didn't see that one. I'm looking up Palo Alto, and I believe I saw the Super Spartan.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Did you ever see The Real McCoy?
yeah, yeah.
And
Oh my gosh, he was in Planes? Like the kid movie Planes?
voiceover, yeah.
Wow.
He was in The Island of Dr. Moreau. That was in the 90s. That was an interesting remake of a movie. And he was also in a movie called The Saint, which was I thought was a really good movie with Elizabeth Shue. But he's been in some really greats. Real Genius is another one of my favorite films from the 80s. I think this came out right after Top Gun. And he played this little genius nerd, but party animal at this university.
God, he was so young. Wow. That just seems like yesterday. Like, this just seems wrong that I'm looking at a movie poster from 1985 of a very young Val Kilmer, and he's not young anymore. Like, that's just wrong.
I know. Like when you saw him in Top Gun Maverick, it's like, yeah, you can see the age on him, but you can see the sickness in him too. But he had to type most of what he was saying. That he did a little voice, but he insisted on being in that movie, which I thought was really touching because they wanted to do something to be a tribute to him, and he's like, I'll come and do it. And they're like, yeah, if you're sick, don't worry, we'll try to find somewhere. And he's like, nope, I'm gonna cowboy up, because he'd turned down all kinds of stuff because of his illness. But he said, yeah, I'm gonna come back for that one. But one of the things, in the off chance if Val Kilmer ever reads my Substack article, which I seriously doubt it, but if he does, or listens to this, just one thing to say, dude, Iceman, thanks for all the movies. That's those are great films, man. And a lot of those movies just kind of defined our youth growing up. There's so many classic movies that were just part of who we were growing up. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I always remember that one. The Goonies, and Singles. Remember that in the 90s when Singles came out?
Yeah, Breakfast Club, 16 Candles.
Yeah.
Everything that Molly Ringwald was ever in, I watched.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, all the way up to remember that I'm so sorry whoever is in this movie, but I'm about to trash it. That terrible movie Threesome, and it was so risque. Oh my God, there's a movie called Threesome. It was in the 90s. I gotta look it up now. Let's see who was in it. But it was a stupid movie about college kids, and this girl was named Alex. So she was put in the boy dorm with a boy.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right,
I
I'm gonna look
vaguely
it up.
remember that. I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, 1994. And it had Laura Flynn Boyle, Josh Charles, and Stephen Baldwin.
Laura Flynn Boyle was in
It
some.
was the
Oh, go ahead.
no. Yeah, I was just gonna say it was the dumbest movie ever. It
But yeah,
was.
she was in some really risque stuff. Laura Flynn Boyle was for a while.
Mhm.
Sam Elliott, that's the name of the guy. How did I not remember Sam Elliott? That's the
Oh,
actor that
okay.
was Tombstone with
Yep.
Val Kilmer. Um, but yeah, it's there. I guess it's kind of nice to harken back and remember some of these movies before something happens to some of these people as they get older, and you hate that they're sick. And everybody always thinks about their favorite celebrity or all these movies, and appreciating their artwork after they're gone. Um,
Yeah.
that happened to my favorite author, F. Scott Fitzgerald. Poor bastard
Hmm.
died poor. I don't want to die poor. I want people to buy a shit ton of my books. I want to make a lot of money while I'm alive. I want to enjoy it. I don't buy them after I'm gone. Man,
Yeah, right.
yeah. Just buy a bottle of whiskey and pour it on my grave or something. I don't know what to tell you. Leave a copy of my book. If you come back and it's signed, well, I'm still around, I guess. Now, how creepy would that be? Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, if you just think of some of the artists of the day, Picasso, like why? What state of mind are you in that you're like, I'm gonna cut off my ear and send it to my ex-girlfriend?
What
Like,
a psycho. Like,
yeah,
what would you call that guy today? Creeper. Like, I'm about to hear that word a million times, but
yeah.
schizophrenic, that word comes to mind too. Like, that's just Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, maybe Dahmer level. Maybe, I mean, he survived, so nobody died. Where in Dahmer's past, people died, but yeah, it's sort of like that level. It's beyond sociopath. It's whatever that is.
So, anybody wants to have a good time this weekend? It's Thursday. Uh, take Elizabeth's advice, get a stiff drink, and then go see Cocaine Bear at your local theater. And it'll change your life, man. Not for the better, but it'll change your life.
Yeah, you can't take a stiff cock to the movie theater. I found that out um, the wrong way. So just FYI. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. The things you hear on the Gonzo Chronicles. Sometimes you don't hear them on the Caffeinated Cooper show, but probably a
Yeah.
reason for that.
Yeah, my parents listened to that one. I'm sure my parents will listen to this one as well because my name's in it.
Uh,
And you know how mommy and daddy are like, oh, my
well,
daughter's famous. We have to. They listened to the episode of the Gonzo Chronicles for St. Patrick's Day where we
the
did
dirty
dirty
limerick.
limericks.
Oh my God.
And they were like, you suggested dirty limericks. I went there with that. And I didn't realize I wasn't supposed to.
You didn't just go there. You didn't show up and like put a bunt down. You were swinging for the rafters. You with some of your lyrics. I was like, wow, all right. I was just kind of wondering like how far is she gonna go with these? And like right off the plate, you're like home run. I've got a tough. How am I gonna follow that? That was fun. That was funny. So yeah. Hey
Mhm.
folks, go back and look that episode up. That was fun. That was fun. But it's been fun. I always enjoy doing the show with you, Elizabeth. So come back again anytime. We'll pick a mystery next time and like some weird unsolved thing. And you had a couple
Definitely.
good ones. I was talking about the King James version of the Bible earlier, how that guy just got his name on there, didn't do any work, but he wrote a book on demonology. No one, does anybody ever tell you that at church? No.
No, big old conflict of interest.
Father Cyrus will tell you. Father Cyrus, where's my collar? How does that sign go if you're Catholic?
I
I,
know. I don't know
I
if anybody
remember
saw that, but I just blessed myself. Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
I saw it on the one of the Austin Powers movies. Um, what was it? Spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch. Is that how he's
Yep.
doing it? So anyway, all right. That's enough out of me for one night, everybody. Hey, Elizabeth, where can people follow you at online?
Well, everything's under Elizabeth Cooper or the Caffeinated Cooper Show. So please go find us, the Caffeinated Cooper Show. If you just Google it, you'll be able to find us on Binge Networks, on Amazon Prime, on YouTube, on Facebook. Um, on Instagram, I am Cooper Elizabeth Cooper. Just typed out just like that, no spaces, no underscores, just Cooper Elizabeth Cooper. You're welcome to follow me. I get back to most messages. So you're welcome to message me, but if it takes a while, I am very sorry. If you send me a pic of a stiff drink, I will respond. Of something else stiff, no, I'm sorry, I don't respond.
Do guys really do that? I hear women say that all the time.
They do. Do you want to know something really gross? I mean, I don't know if it's too much for the show, but I know I did the limerick, so it can't be. The new thing, they send a picture of the after product after you play with yourself.
Uh,
Yeah. And I'm like,
who wants
uh,
who wants to see spooge everywhere? What's up? That's gross. Like guys, that's
I don't know.
listen. I'm a sensible dude. All right, fellas out there, three things have to stop right now. Right, letting your friends vote liberal, the freaking man bun, and whacking off and taking pictures and sending to women. Stop that shit right now. Like, I'm pulling anybody's man card that does that because that's just like stupid. It's like I question a guy's masculinity if you show up at a ball game wearing flip flops. Right? Like, hey, he could be gay, he could be straight, you kind of don't know. But here's the gross thing about that shit. Guys wear flip flops to ball games and then they go into the restroom after like seventh inning stretch, take a whiz. You get a little bit of splashback off those things. That shit's all over your feet. What are you thinking, fellas? Don't wear flip flops to the public games. Don't do a baseball game. Not unless you're like, trying to send signals to other dudes. Just stop. And if you got a man bun and flip flops, I'm switching aisles. I'm not even sitting there.
And a
Going back.
pocket full of tissues. Can you be the man card officer? And I'll forward all that stuff to you and you can just revoke it, send them some
Yeah.
official website and official email.
As official spokesman for Gen X, knock that shit off. That's and
It's not even the Gen Xers.
it's sad. It's sad men. It's sad, desperate men. Like,
I
I don't know. I
what
don't know.
woman is gonna look at that and go, yeah, I want that somewhere near me. Like that, no, that's not the fun part of this. It's not.
Listen, fellas, if a girl sends you maybe some booby pictures and says she wants something, that's one thing. All right. But remember, all this stuff goes out into the ether is permanent, right? So just, keep your wang in your pants. That's all you have to do. Not that hard. And if you have to take it out of your pants, just kind of keep it a secret. You don't need to tell people.
That's right.
Unless, we don't need public displays and,
Mhm.
random pics. See, nobody ever like inboxes me boobies. I don't get that stuff. I don't know why guys feel the need to send their, their bits and pieces around.
This is a great time for you to give out your email address.
My email, I don't want wang pics. So I'm afraid this episode. Normally I do. Like if you want to email the show a topic, just leave it in the comments. Just leave it in the comments. All right, folks. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in to another episode of the Gonzo Chronicles. Yeah, like the intro says, it gets weird. So hey, thanks for stopping by.